By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, that we may transform it into light. Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Today we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Four of Cups. Four of Cups is position one. It is the station, right? It reveals your sense of self, our personality right now. Something that may be preoccupying us or the state of our ego. And the Four of Cups is a card of the safe harbor, right? It's the card of staying in the safe cove, not venturing out into the open ocean, right? So this is kind of our core energy at the moment. I feel like we're in this mode where we're sort of playing it safe, but anytime we get a 4, right, we start looking around for the 5. We're getting that feeling that something's about to change. Something is about to shift. It's almost like this feeling that says, I've been in the storm shelter long enough. It's time for me to go back out. I've been in the safe cove, no holes in the boat, right? The boat's not sinking, but I'm not sailing off to my adventure either. And maybe it's time to do that, right? So, we have to ask ourselves with this card, what is driving us now? Where is our attention fixed? And how does this shape my experience of the world? So we might be thinking, there's a lot of storms out there in the world, and there's part of us that wants to stay safe, wants to stay secure, doesn't want to go risk it for the biscuit, right? Feels like I should just be okay where I'm at. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But we know that this isn't a sustainable place. This was meant to be temporary, a temporary safety away from the storms, right? So there's still part of us that is kind of scared about getting back out there. Where there are storms on the sea, there be monsters out there, right? And so now we're sort of experiencing the world from the safety of our heart, right? From the safety of our fortified emotional being, right? This is kind of a heart that is like, it's not extending out. It's not reaching out for other people. It's being safe, and I'm guarding my heart, right? We need to put this card into a little bit of context. So let's put the rest of our cards on the table. We have a 2 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands, the 2 of Swords, a 10 of Cups, and a Queen of Pentacles. We have a Queen of Cups. We have the High Priestess. We have a Prince of Cups, and we have an Ace of Swords. Very good. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here with Jimbo the Lizard King, aka Mr. Lizard, right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments. All right, let's use our intuition. As we look around the room, we see that the intuition really is the only major arcana card we have, the High Priestess, telling us to use our intuition as we venture out into the environment. Okay, we've got fire, we got a pretty good amount of water, we got some air, and we have some earth. Okay, it's fairly balanced. It's pretty heavy on the water though, but otherwise there's a little bit of everything. Yeah. The 2 of Pentacles reveals our Quest. This is position 2. It's the battle, right? This is our personal task or quest. It's a card of change. This is the challenge before us, right? The event that is going to test your strength. It's going to require your courage, okay? And this is us kind of volunteering for change. This is saying, I know that I have to change something now. When we see that Four of Cups, we say, okay, I know things need to change. I have to step out of this box. I have to step out of my comfort zone. So the Two of Pentacles is really this step forward that you're taking. Instead of remaining here, we're changing our course. Instead of having this inertia, we're developing momentum. Instead of staying enclosed, we're expanding. We're opening up. Okay? Instead of being inside the box, we're getting out of the box. Yeah. And so we consider, like, what is the dilemma before you right now? And how does this challenge you? Right? Well, it seems obvious with these two cards. Play it safe or go take a risk. Where are we being called to change? That's the battle here. And this is proactive energy, right? The Two of Pentacles, it's called change, harmonious change. But it's a proactive, it's a change that I'm initiating. I'm taking that step forward out of the box. If it were the Wheel of Fortune, or the Tower, or the Death card, or something like that, that might be change that's happening to us, or for us, or through us. But this is the change that you are initiating, okay? And that's what we're being called upon to do right now, is to step outside, to take a risk, to get back to it, to get back in the boat and start sailing toward whatever the goal is, whatever is the life that we want. Okay? Position 3, under the surface. This is your soul. It reveals your unconscious drives, your private self, and maybe the emotional landscape right beneath your kind of persona here. Okay? And this is the secret wellspring of feelings and memories. We have a 3 of Wands. It's virtue. And this whispers our kind of hidden desires, attitudes, the feelings that are really going to shape our destiny. This is the sun in Aries, right? It's a reference to what we've been talking about on this channel for some time now, which is the Pisces evolution into the Aries energy. Because Pisces, you are the final sign in the wheel of the zodiac. It's natural that a lot of you are shifting into the Aries energy. Some of you may be on the cusp. It's not necessarily in what degree Pisces you were born, but it's kind of, it could happen at different times. It doesn't have to be that you're on the cusp, but I think a lot of you are finding more Aries-like impulses in you, where we kind of feel like there's this, the concealed part of us that is ready to come out. It's like we all have every sign of the zodiac in us, right, in our chart. But right now for you, it's that Aries sign that wants to break free. So with the Four of Cups, we're playing it safe, but there is this sun in Aries energy, this virtue in you, this power, this willpower that wants to get out, that wants to take a risk. It's seeking expression. And this is that card of virtue. So I feel like that you feel it inside of you, like you feel it in your bones, the right thing to do right now. But that Four of Cups, we're playing it safe. But I think we're recognizing that this is seeking expression in our lives. And this is the initiation of that new path. It's the sun in Aries. It is absolutely like the first rush of creative energy on the wheel of the zodiac. Okay? And so we wonder, what are some of these concealed parts that want to be expressed? What is it for you? I think you're somebody that secretly you know what you want. You know what things you want to do in life. Generally, more than one thing. But we're not always so ready to take the risk and get out there and do it. This energy now wants you to get out and do it, right? So it's sort of asking for you to open up the gate and let all this energy out. to start doing these things that we wanted to do, whether it's recreational activities or lifestyle changes or seeking new relationships, seeking new experiences, taking the initiative, taking charge, and honoring that energy, that creative energy that's within us. Yeah. And this is that card that says, you know the right thing to do, even when it's difficult. You know what it is. Okay? And I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's a lot of different things. Okay? Position 4, back here, is the dwarf. It uncovers the past influences, maybe patterns or events that hold you back or could be shaping your current situation. And the 2 of Swords is a card of peace. And it to me kind of feels like making peace with our past decisions. This is usually the card of choice. How am I choosing? How have I chose my path? Right? What events are still echoing in your present? Are we still thinking of old choices that we made? And looking at them like, I made some really, maybe not the best choices in my life, and now I'm here, right? We understand that karma sort of works that way, that we are where we are in a large part because of the choices. But where is this limiting your freedom? Our past choices, they don't define us. They may have helped contribute to us getting where we are. Who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing right now is a result of a lot of my choices. A lot of things that were out of my control, seemingly. But a lot of it was me making choices, right? For good or for better or for worse. I made a lot of bad choices in my life. You can be sure, right? I still make bad choices quite often, actually. But we try, okay? But what we cannot do is let these choices of our past prevent us from letting our soul speak, letting our energy out, letting our creative aspirations see the light of day. Okay, that 3 of Wands. What we know deep down inside of us we need to do, the way we need to be in life. But then not letting that energy happen because I made some pretty bad choices in the past, So are there particular choices that are still echoing in your present? And what are those? And I think, where do we allow old failures or fears limit our freedom now? Right? That 2 of Swords. The 2 of Swords does sort of suggest the answer, though. Suggests the solution. And that's the little crescent moon at the top. It's saying, yeah, maybe Paul, the human personality Paul, doesn't always make good decisions. So maybe I should default to spirit. Maybe I should let the intuition make the choices. Right? And I think if we can tap into our intuition and trust our intuition, then we are sort of taken out of this ego, the ego consciousness, because the ego, for whatever reason, in whatever state I am in, my choices are going to be of a certain nature. But if I can tap into that intuition, the spiritual energy, the divine light, then whatever choices the ego wants to make, it doesn't always get its way. And that's part of our virtue here. Because the virtue is, in your case, underneath the surface here. Deep inside of you, you know the right thing to do. But the ego doesn't always make the right choices. And so now what we're learning is, I know what the right thing to do is. I have to let spirit make those choices with me, rather than my ego making choices that I'm maybe, possibly, you never know, going to regret later. Right? So that takes us around to position 5, which is the giant. This is the driving force, the dominant motivation, right? Your personal virtue that propels you forward. I think you're somebody that ultimately knows what you want. You're somebody that has a lot of love to give. You have, there's a lot of things that you want in life, and this is fulfillment. I think you know, like you have this vision of what your life could be. With all the interconnected pieces, there's love, and there's pain, and there's joy, and there's sorrow in here. There's everything in here. This is a life that is full. This is a rich, deep, meaningful experience of life where we're not limiting ourselves from anything. we're getting outside of that Four of Cups, and we're going and we're sailing off and having our adventure, we're going to have pleasure and pain. There are going to be really good days and some bad days. There's going to be smooth sailing and there's going to be rough waters. We're including everything in here. This is the card of satiety. This is the card of being really contented with life. I think you're somebody that knows what the good life means for you. You know what it would look like. I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's having a complete experience, a full, rich, and deep experience and connection with all aspects of life. So having this up here is kind of empowering you to move ahead. What strengths in yourself are you ready to embrace? I think you have a resilience, you have a creativity, you have a sensitivity, okay? You are someone who is very attuned to the emotional experience of others. I think you're pretty good at gauging how other people feel. I think you're probably a really good partner, lover, friend, family member, sibling, whatever, right? You really can connect with people in a big way, okay? And I think that you probably give really good gifts, you know? You probably can sense what other people need, and you can provide that for them before they even ever have to really ask you, okay? So how do you harness this and manifest your destiny? This ability to see connections with people, to make connections, the ability to really to know that the good life is out there, but the good life, the satisfied life, has both sides of the coin, pleasure and pain, right? Sort of embracing both. Of course, we want to limit the pain, right? But we're not making choices based on what feels good or what feels bad. That's ego making choices, right? That's maybe Two of Swords. The ego says, I'm going to do more of what feels good. I'm going to do less of what feels bad. That's perfect. Solution of life, right? That doesn't always lead us to a very good place. So we realize that some things we have to do even when some things are good for us, even when they don't feel good in the moment. So this is kind of our long-term dream come true life. And I think that you're ready to get out there and embrace this and get this, build this, experience this. Now, position 6 is the imago. This is the next step or the future sort of events for you, right? The consequences of your actions and the shape of things that are coming. The Queen of Pentacles. This is your future self. This is you down the road, looking back at the choices that you're making right now today. The thoughts, words, and deeds of right now are creating your future self. So who you want to be down the road really depends on how you embrace your divine energy right now. You embrace your virtue. You embrace this impulse coming from inside of you that's wanting to get out of the box and get out of the safe harbor, get out of the storm shelter, and have that adventure. The Queen of Pentacles is sometimes, or it could be anyway, a card of regret. Looking back at our past and wishing we would have said yes to something instead of saying no and staying inside. We don't want to look back at our lives. We don't want to look back at right now and say, I let my past choices kind of keep me playing it safe, keep me from taking any kind of risk, keep me from an adventure. And now, here I am in the future, and I'm lamenting those choices, right? So it's kind of like we're looking back here, and we're thinking, I've made choices in the past that I didn't really like, that weren't maybe the right choices, or I let ego make the choices, and that's why I'm here. I don't want to continue doing that, because then I'm going to be looking back at right now and thinking, it's still the same thing. So we're letting this energy influence our future. Our past choices are going to dictate our future self. What about our present choices? Okay. So to me, the Queen of Pentacles is someone who is very, very satisfied with life. This is somebody that understands the ups and downs and twists and turns. You're looking at that long and winding road that you've traveled in your life. And you've been through the twists and turns. You've been through the ups and downs, right? And this is somebody who is very, very wise, very powerful, very connected, very successful, very satisfied. Because this is somebody that's like looking back at their life and thinking, I had one heck of an adventure. A lot of adventures, a lot of experiences, you know? And so I think we're always going to regret the things we didn't do. You know, more so than we'll regret having tried, at least, taking a chance, taking a risk. You know, I tried to do it, and maybe that was kind of led to some more stormy waters, rough seas. But that's going to be so much more exciting. It's going to be a much better story to tell than for us to say, well, I just kind of stayed home. I didn't really go and do anything, you know. And so I feel that, we have to ask what choices now are going to guide you to the life that you seek. Who do you want your future self to be? Those have to inform our choices right now. What stories do we want to tell when we're old or older, right? And so that's the future position. That's the next step for you, is whichever one is going to lead you toward the ideal version of yourself and the life that you want. Now we're going to talk about the path of the serpent. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do, okay? It really helps us out with the algorithm. I really appreciate that. Position 7 is the persona, Queen of Cups, right? This shows your public mask, the social face that you wear, and how we sort of present ourselves to the world, how the world sees us, how other people see us. And this is someone who's very sensitive, very deep, very mysterious, sometimes very veiled, right? This might be somebody that has a depth of emotion, but doesn't really reveal themselves to others, okay? This is the image that others see of you. Somebody that's a little hard to read. Somebody that's a little mysterious. It's nice to kind of have a little mystery about ourselves, right? But this kind of feels like, that somebody that is concealing some aspect of themselves. That's somebody that might not be living as authentically as they could be. Of course, we're contrasting this with our Prince of Cups up here. So this is somebody that maybe sometimes goes along to get along, tends to play it safe, tends to sort of blend in with what other people are kind of thinking or feeling or doing, just to sort of smooth things out. It's kind of like we're not looking to ruffle any feathers. We're not looking to stir up any of the sediment. We're not looking to rock the boat, right? Or upset the waters. Yeah. And so we have to ask, does this persona serve my highest truth? And, where are we kind of hiding behind some of our, or maybe where are we hiding our true emotions, our true feelings about things, our true desires? Okay. This could be somebody that is, has this secret life inside. They want so much in life, but outwardly they're sort of mirroring what other people are doing. They're masking their true feelings. They're reflecting to the world what we think the world wants to see. There are levels to this card. There's the surface level, where we're just literally reflecting back whatever the world's giving us. World gives us grief, we're grief. We're giving it right back. It's bouncing right off us, we're just reflecting. We walk into a room, whatever the vibe is, that's the vibe that we take on. And it's easy. It doesn't penetrate into our true being. It keeps us safe. Right? Because it's not really who I am. I'm just reflecting back whatever's going on around me. It's like you walk into a room, everybody's laughing at a joke. You come in and you just start laughing too. It's that kind of trope. And then there's the shallow end, which is somebody who is just pursuing pleasure and running from pain. But then there's the really deep stuff that's really down in the darkness there, and those are the true desires, what I really want in life. That sometimes we're afraid to acknowledge, or we're afraid to go pursue. Okay, so we keep that 4 of Cups as the safe, kind of the acceptable zone. Yeah, this is what's familiar, this is what is popular, this is what everybody else kind of is doing, this is where I feel okay, this feels familiar. Diving down to the very bottom is kind of lonely. It's dark, it's cold. Not a lot of other people that go down into that depth, but you're a very deep person. But people don't know that about you yet, right? Because people see, I think, the veil that you wear. Now, the next position, position 8. Okay, this is a kind of a shadow card. It uncovers the hidden events or influences in your environment, circumstances that may test you by stirring up what you deny in yourself. Okay? And so I feel that with the High Priestess, there are things that happen in your life. There are relationships that you have. This is the card of the relationships, right? Those events or influences in your environment, okay, that sort of are speaking to you in code, speaking to you in signs, symbols, and synchronicities. And trying to show you, like, I don't know, I feel like you get like repeating numbers, maybe on like receipts or on the clock, on your phone, like in, on bill, whatever. You see the same kind of numbers or the same symbols or the same word, right? Like you everywhere you go, you see this word go, G-O, And it's just kind of like, or yes, or everything that every random thing that could possibly show up for you is kind of giving you a green light or saying go or saying yes to something. And so I feel like there are a lot of ways that Spirit is trying to get through to you. And the High Priestess reveals what's happening around you that sort of provokes our shadow or provokes us, shows us the things that we might be a little bit scared of doing or scared of wanting or scared of becoming or pursuing, or scared of admitting to ourselves, right? So we see a lot of this mystery outside of ourselves, and we want to stay inside the Four of Cups, okay? What external challenges are you facing right now? That is Spirit's way of saying, take my hand. See, the High Priestess is always like this, always saying, take my hand and let me show you your path. But we're reluctant because we feel like the High Priestess is going to drag us through the briar patch. Sometimes she will. Okay, but sometimes that's what we need. So, the environment here is pushing you to grow. And it is Spirit working through your relationships with other people. Maybe we feel as if other people are being very guarded with us, or they're very veiled. Other people are being too mysterious, or other people are too unreliable, or other people never really say what they mean, And so it could be a little bit of that kind of projection. But I think that the High Priestess is always leading us to our best life. And we have to trust this, that whatever she is showing you that you're reluctant to see, we could be pretty sure we need to see it. Okay? Now, the next card is position 9, the Spectre. It's part of your character, right? Shows the fear, worry, concern, the anxieties that haunt us, right? Those authentic parts of ourself that challenge our growth. It's the Prince of Cups. It is the card of authenticity. This is the card of somebody that's not veiled. This is the card of somebody who has this kind of radical self-love, radical self-acceptance, is in touch with their true self and their true desires and their true nature. It's not hiding themselves away. This is somebody that when you walk into a crowded room and there's a certain vibe, your vibe remains your vibe, right? Your vibrations, it's not like this concentration gradient, right? Where the area of higher concentration is going to get lower in order to contribute to whatever the group is doing, right? So like your emotional intelligence doesn't go down when you're in that mob mentality, right? So you maintain your true essence no matter where you are with this card, right? And this card has done the work of the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is asking for self-love and self-acceptance, asking us to be more emotionally transparent, at least with ourselves. This is now the card that is doing that, but this is what we're afraid of. So it's kind of like, what are we afraid of becoming? Our authentic self? This is sort of the character of our inner dread, that maybe we're, for whatever reason, we're worried about becoming our authentic self or revealing our authentic self, or acknowledging and accepting and embracing our authentic self. Maybe we feel like people aren't going to like us, or it's going to put us at odds with the group, or, we're going to be too different. People are going to think we're weird. Good, be weird. Be very, very weird, Pisces, okay? So how does this fear of our being our authentic self, how does this limit our potential, right? Why might we be afraid of becoming our authentic self or acknowledging, embracing our authentic self? Now, the next card is the destiny, the event. Shows the final outcome of your journey, the projected culmination of your quest, right? The external events that shape your transformation. And this is clarity. This is like I'm following my intuition now with every choice, every decision. I am being my authentic self, and I am connected with my authentic self, and I know the right thing to do in any circumstance, and I do the thing. Now, nobody's perfect, right? But this card is about following the intuition. The choices now become, there's no choice at all. There's only truth. This is your consciousness that has penetrated beyond the chaotic and confused realm of the ego mind. And now the tip of the sword is in outer space, right? The tip of the sword has penetrated into the cosmic energy. You've tapped into the divine. And you're receiving the starlight. These are starlight, rays of light entering your single-pointed, one-pointed, authentic consciousness. Your pure spirit, your soul, right? Coming down into you, informing you, infusing you. Okay? So this clarity now, this is kind of how you align your choices and your actions with your destiny. Okay? So it's kind of like we have this clarity now, this certainty, the truth. Living our truth is going to fulfill our highest potential. How do you align your actions with your destiny? By being authentic, by using your intuition, by not letting the ego mind make the choices, by not veiling our true self from ourself, okay? By striving for clarity and connection to that divine energy. And this is the culmination for you. This is your destiny, is to have this connection, okay? Because then this is going to inform all of your choices going forward. Yeah. This is the shape of your realized self in the world. So I feel like this is somebody who is making decisions, knows what they want, and is not afraid to go get it. Really, it's an Aries energy, right? It's reflecting that Aries potential that's in you to say, I am who I am. And I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to make choices that are going to align me with my ideal future self and my future life, where I want to be, who I want to be, what do I want to be doing. And I make choices that are aligned with that, regardless of who or what is around me and what their opinions might be or what their feelings might be. Now, this seems a little selfish, right? It's self-love-ish, for sure. Okay? But this is saying that I have a certainty and a clarity about my life. And that's my destiny, is to know who I am and know why I'm here, and to allow that connection to the divine guide the rest of the choices. Okay? Let's look at the final card. Position 11. And this is the guide. Right? This reveals our highest self, the inner teacher, the deepest wisdom. Right? It shows the character qualities. See, all these cards, they sort of alternate between your character and the events that shape that character. Okay? And so this is the qualities that you must develop in order to walk the path. What do you think it's going to be? I think it's going to be the Emperor. I think it's going to be some fire. I think it's going to be some love, self-love, maybe a Two of Cups. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. A King of Cups. It's the same card. Fixed water energy. Yeah. Both of these cards show somebody that is skimming the surface of the waters, right? But is not immersed in them. And I think this now, contrary to what we said about the Queen of Cups, this is very good because it shows that we are remaining connected with our true authentic selves, regardless of what the ego feelings are. Does that make sense? So I know it's different ways of looking at this at the depth here. Okay, but both of these cards, they're riding the waters, but they're not immersed in the waters. So to me, this feels like we are staying separated from the ego identifying with the fluctuating feelings that we might have. What does our authentic self want? Who are we essentially? Because we think of these emotions. Well, in 1 minute, I might be immersed, right? Diving down, dipped into the water of joy. And in that moment, I'm happy. Then a moment later, depending on the changing tides, I might be sad. And now if I'm immersed in the water, I'm identified with that sadness. I've become sadness. But the authentic self isn't sadness. It isn't happiness either. The authentic self is pure clarity, pure conscious spirit. Okay, so by these cards, the illustration of these cards is that we are feeling our feelings. We're riding the waves of the emotions, but we're not identifying ourselves with them. We're remaining our authentic self no matter what feelings the day brings us. No matter what feelings are around us, we're looking at them as something separate. We're not denying how we feel. We're accepting how we feel, but we're not identifying with it. Right? Instead of saying, I am angry, which is the same as saying, I am anger, I'm saying, I can see that there's a wave of anger coming over me. And I can do something about it because I realize that I am not that anger. It's going to wash over me. I'm going to feel angry for a minute or for however long, but I am not the anger. Right? So we're solidifying our authentic self. It's like we're a bubble of air. And the water's going to come knock us all around, but we're still going to be that bubble of air. Okay? It doesn't change our essential nature. And of course, the air is the spirit, the pneuma, the ruach, right? And that's what these cards are. This is air in the water. This is the airy quality of water, right? It's the fixed water. And it also is a reference to a Scorpio energy. So you might want to watch the Scorpio readings as well. I think this is a very, very good mystery card. The voice of your soul's truth, right? The character that we have to develop. And we have to be our authentic self, no matter what is going on around us. We have to strive for that. It's not perfect. We'll never be perfect. But this is what we try to strive for. Okay? So this is the message from your higher self. And how do we integrate this wisdom into our life? Okay? We maybe look at our emotions, even if it's fear, if it's that Four of Cups, we realize, okay, I feel safe and secure in this little box, but I am not the safety or the security of this little box. I am a pure spirit. I can go out into the world and I can get my deep, complex, rich experiences of life and get my fulfillment. Okay? Even when there are ups and downs. Again, we know there's going to be twists and turns and ups and downs. That's part of the experience. That's part of the story we're going to tell. This gives us something to hold on to, our authentic self, that says I can go through all of those ups and downs and get to my goal without without being dispersed, without being shattered and broken. Yeah, I like this. I think this is the perfect mystery card or guiding card. Now, please let the lessons of these 11 stations settle in your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation. Remember that the tarot does not dictate your future. It reveals the patterns of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your path, please share your reflections below. Together, we journey onward, ever upward and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link in the video description. New readings for Pisces on Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.